Hi, my name is Nicole. Welcome to my channel, Travel to Money. In this video, I'm going to talk about permits and licenses when renovating a house in Spain. Plus, I'm going to answer a few common questions that I've been getting on Instagram about buying a house in Spain, like the taxes on vacation rentals and home flips, where I would get recommendations for professional services, and more. If you are new here, I have created this channel to help you learn about how to travel, adventure, and have fun on the road to financial independence. I have traveled the world, I own a couple of houses in Spain, and I'm on a creative journey to financial independence. I believe the road to financial freedom can and should be fun. I hope you subscribe and join me on this journey, no matter where you are starting from. If you don't already know, I own two houses in Spain that are directly next door to each other. The first one I bought in 2018, and it only needed minor renovations and was livable. The second I purchased for $5,000, and it needs a complete renovation. The only things that were already completed before my purchase were the renovation of the front of the house and the roof, though we're likely going to be raising the roof slightly, so that's going to be a project as well. One of the questions I've been asked quite a few times on Instagram is about permits and licenses when you're doing work on a house. I'll explain it as best I know it, but with the important reminder that local laws can vary from place to place, so you should always do your own research. In the area that I own homes in Spain, we must go to the local town hall anytime you want to do anything to a house. Tell them what it is you're doing that will change the home, and they will tell you the price for a permit. From what I understand, this goes for anything at all that you want to change. For example, if you want to change out the countertop in your kitchen, you need a permit. And this goes for anything that you change on the inside or the outside of the house. Now, you might wonder, what if I do something to change the house and I don't have a permit? Well, if it is visible on the exterior, you are likely to be found out sooner rather than later, and you will receive a fine. Now, I don't know the extent of the fines and how different they are from just paying the original permit. I did ask someone I know who had done some small interior things to a home without a permit, what would happen if you didn't get the work permitted and then decided to sell the house? Apparently, they don't send someone to look through the house for the purpose of verifying that type of permit at the time of sale, so it wouldn't really impact the sale of the house. Though I do think it's probably just best to get all the permits you need as you go and keep everything above board. Now, from what I understand, there is a difference between getting a permit for small types of work and a permit if you're building a new house or doing a complete renovation. I've read in one place that for small items, there often isn't even a fee. For larger projects like new construction or a full renovation, you can get a license or permit on the whole project. I was told in our area that it costs about $1,100, but I read somewhere else that you should plan on about 3 to 3.5% of the total work. My friend warned me though that if you get the license for the complete project instead of doing permits one item at a time, that you are responsible for the building for the next 10 years. So let's say that you got the license and you built a new house and then you sold it 2 years later to someone else. If the house caved in just a few years later, you would be legally responsible. Now, I don't know a lot about this, but I think it's something to be aware of, and at least ask the questions at your local town hall, or maybe ask your attorney there in Spain. If you're more familiar with the process of permits and licenses, please tell me all about it in the comments. A moment ago, I mentioned asking your attorney some of the questions about licenses and permits. My attorney is someone who I've talked about at length. He is the guy that really does all the work when I'm purchasing a house in Spain, and I just show up to sign the paperwork and transfer the money. I talk all about the step-by-step process to buying a house in Spain, where you can see the details of all that an attorney can do for you, and that video is right up here. One of the most frequent comments and messages that I receive is from people asking for my attorney information. I have not been giving that information out because I literally received hundreds of requests due to one of my videos going viral, and I just cannot give out that many people that information when I have no idea where they are at in the process and if they're going to email the attorney a bunch of questions without having done their due diligence first, or even if they are buying in the area that he works in. Now, if you're doing one-on-one coaching with me, which is available on my website, and I know where you are at in the process, then obviously I'm happy to pass out that referral information. I just want to make sure I'm doing the right thing by my attorney because he seriously takes such good care of me. I wish I had time to help hundreds of people individually in their process, but that's why I set up coaching for those who are really ready for that next step. Another question I get a lot is, can you help me find a house for $5,000? And the truth is, probably not. Now, are there deals out there? Yes, there are great deals. But the reason I got this house for $5,000 is because I bought it directly from the owner without any agent fees. And to do that, you have to know people. This one only fell into my lap because it had been listed for so long, and since the house is next door to the other one I own, the owner happened to tell my friend, who sent me a WhatsApp message. I do not have some sort of secret website where there are hundreds of houses for $5,000. However, if you are on a budget, I do think you can find amazing deals if you are willing to put in the time. Speaking of this, because of all the interest I've received about buying homes in Spain, and because I really would love to help people learn about Spain in relational ways, I've been considering putting together some small group trips in my area of Spain. I was thinking about doing some sort of villa rental that has 4 or 5 bedrooms and gathering a small group of 5 to 10 people, really depending on if it were single people or couples, and doing a 5 to 7 day stay in the area. I was thinking I could show the local towns, plan to see various homes that are for sale, doing some basic language learning, doing an introduction to my attorney with a question and answer session, and probably a whole lot more. If you would be interested in this type of group trip, let me know in the comments. Send me an email to this email address right here, or send me a private message on Instagram. Another question I've been asked is if I have a builder I can refer. My friend and I are doing a lot of the work ourselves, and then we are hiring out professionals for specific areas of work that we are not as familiar with. My friend has specifically asked me not to give out his information. He doesn't do these things full time and has more than enough offers for work. However, I have found the best way to find professionals with recommendations is through Facebook groups. I joined a group in my local town that seems to mostly be made up of people from other countries who have found a home in the local area. Most of the time the posts are in English, and it's a great place to ask questions. I've received excellent recommendations from mechanic, air conditioning repair, plumbers, and more. If you have found a home in a city in Spain, a local Facebook group is the first thing to join. Now, I know that Facebook might seem a little old school to some, but if you're buying a home in Spain, I think it's a must. For me, finding comfort and success living in this small town in Spain is largely due to a very kind community of people around me who have stepped in with advice and help. Much of that started with Facebook. Facebook still has a huge presence in Europe, especially in local communities. Lastly, I get a lot of questions about purchasing homes in Spain as an investment through either flipping a house or turning one into an Airbnb rental. Those are not the reasons that I bought my homes in Spain, and really, I only bought the second home because it was directly next door to my first home and wanted to make sure that it was renovated properly. I bought the first house as a place for me to live for as much of the year as I'm allowed to be there. I love Spain, learning to live as much like a local as possible. But for those of you who are solely looking to invest, although there is certainly opportunity to make something out of an investment, one of the biggest things to consider is whether or not the taxes on your investments are worth it. So I briefly want to go over what those look like. Let's start with vacation rental taxes. The flat rate for non-European citizens is 24% of your rental income. So if you made €1,000 per month in rental income, the first $240 will be going to the government. I'm not sure what it's like for people in other countries, but when I run a vacation rental in the US, even though I owe taxes on that income, I am also able to deduct things like utilities, furnishings, and other costs of running a vacation rental. But in Spain, as a non-resident, you don't get those deductions. So when you're calculating what you have coming in and going out, the taxes are a major consideration and could make the difference between a good investment and a bad one. I did read somewhere that if you register for a tourist rental, that you can deduct home maintenance costs. Next, let's talk about the taxes when flipping a house. Let's use the house I just bought for $5,000 as an example. The capital gains tax for a non-resident from outside of the EU is 24%. If you are a non-resident from inside the EU, the amount is 19%. So as an American, my rate is 24%. This is how it works. I bought the house for $5,000. Let's say I have receipts for $20,000 of work done on the house to renovate it. Then let's say that I sell the house house for $50,000. Well, I don't have to pay tax on the first $5,000 of that, since that is what I bought the property for. And I don't have to pay tax on the $20,000 of receipts I have from the renovations. So then the capital gains tax I pay is on the extra $25,000 of profit I'm making on the house. A 24% tax amount of $25,000 is $6,000. That brings my profit down from $25,000 to $19,000. Still not awful in that scenario, but I'm just making up sale numbers in this case. Before you make any kind of investment, always make sure you run the most conservative numbers and don't forget to calculate your taxes. I hope this video has helped to answer some of your questions. I'd love for you to like it and subscribe to join me every day, where travel and adventure build financial freedom. I can't wait to see where your dreams will take you.